But let me ask you this since we're on the topic. How you feel about actors and comedians who wear dresses and play female roles?
Um, when you deal with comedians, you're dealing with guys that spoof stuff all the time. I've done spoofs. Like somebody saying, "Well, you was in the breaks. You had riding on the back of the scooter with my shirt tied up in a little like pedal pusher bond tied around my belly." It's a spoof. It was a spoof. I didn't kiss nobody. I was making fun, like don't be a menace while drinking juice in the hood. It's a spoof. Some people don't know the difference between reality and a spoof. It was a spoof. So some of those guys just do that just as a spoof. Now I done a couple of times. I did a play where I imitated Diana Ross. I imitate people, but it's not something I want to do a role on a TV series. It was a spoof. And there's a difference between comedy and doing a spoof as opposed to playing a character where you're in a dress all day long, every day, and that's your character. I don't knock that. I think everybody has to make personal choices. And I think as a watching public, a lot of people don't understand what it's like to be in the entertainment business. It is really bizarre. And you have to make choices that are not always popular. But I'll do a spoof. I'm not sure I'd do a spoof now because the climate is just so crazy. But I've done a few spoofs. I think, and I think if a guy wants to wear a dress, if that's what he wants to do, I think, like you've seen Jamie Foxx play Shanae. Was it Martin that played Shanae? Jamie played the other lady. Yeah, it was Martin. I mean, that was a personal choice, and it's a comic, it's a comic stuff, so I think you get a little bit of a pass when you're a comic, or you do spoofs like I do, because I do drama and comedy and I intersperse them.
Do you think Hollywood is trying to feminize black actors?
Um, Bro, you've been doing too much damn research. Um, I personally think we got to be mindful of the images and sexual, trying to turn men more, less masculine. But we're in a different time now, bro. We're not in the time when I grew up when men were men. You shook hands, you ain't hugged nobody and all that old nonsense. But I'm not gonna comment on that because that's something I think it's just a personal choice, man. I don't believe anybody can make anybody do that. I think you got to make a personal choice. And I get when it's a spoof, but I think I don't know if it's a concerted effort. But we're in different times now. We in real different times now. So everything's a lot more fluid. And some people just go with the flow. I'm just a little different. I'm more traditional and conservative. But some people just go with the flow and say, that's just part of my work. And I get it. I don't think Hollywood has a concerted effort to be any certain way. It's just a machine, and we got to keep fighting against the stuff that's not fair. But I made a lot of money in Hollywood. I am not here to bash Hollywood. Hollywood is just a microcosm of the regular world. And it's good and bad, but I'm not here to bash Hollywood. I think you got to know. Like when I do lectures, I tell my students, know what you're going to do. Know what you're going to do. Know where you are mentally, spiritually. Know where you are when it comes to your wellness. Know where you are when it comes to your sexuality. And you make a personal choice. Nobody holds a gun to anybody's head to make them do anything. Maybe there's some coercion. Maybe there's some grooming. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you got to make a personal choice. And a lot of times people make choices because they broke or they want to be famous or they have big egos and they want to tell their family they made it. But they don't say how they did it. It's a lot of different factors. So I don't think it's a concerted effort on Hollywood. At least that's my personal opinion.
Rush Hour, how did that come about? You getting the role in that?
Yeah, that was amazing, amazing, amazing. Shout out to my man Brett Ratner who put me in Rush Hour and let me wear that red suit. I wasn't supposed to wear the red. I said, man, I got to be in all red, Brett, because black folks are going to love that. Black as I am with all red, it's all good. It was me and Chris Tucker. Chris Tucker, Jamie Foxx, Mark Curry, and myself all lived in the same building back in 1989 when I got to LA. We were all poor actors. But we were all on the grind. They were doing their comedy. I was all doing my thing. And so we didn't hang out all the time, but we see each other in the building, the elevator. What's up? What's up? We was all just regular poor people trying to make it.